Oh, thank fuck. I changed. Discord, you whore. There we go. Shut up, religion. Wasting your time. Wasting mine. I hate to see you leaving. Fate worse than dying. I actually remembered to send a link in Discord.
Your city gave me asthma, so that's why I'm fucking leaving.
Who's this?
And your water gave me cancer. And the pavement hurt my feelings. Shout at the wall,
Who are you?
'cause the walls don't fucking love you. Shout at the wall, 'cause the walls don't fucking love you.
Oh no, because I'm a nosy bitch. Who did what?
There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason London puts barriers on the rails. There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason London puts barriers on the rails. There's a reason London puts barriers on the tube line. There's a reason they fail. One, two, three, and four.
Yo, what the fuck? I think it's time I died.
I'm not melodramatic, I'm just pragmatic beyond any reasoning for thinking I've got fucking rabies or something. I think it's time I'm dying. I think it's time I'm dying.
Oh, thank God. Look, it's called I closed my Discord for, or not, I didn't close my Discord, it's called I closed my account for a reason.
Fact and the fictions while simultaneously fixing myself up with a girl
Whore.
Panadol. Like a tablet elixir, disintegrate mouths a mixer. I think I've lost my mind. my mind. Just wait one more time. Maybe I could wake up and feel alright. I optimistically set the lamp
Oh my god, I'm a fucking psychopath.
I've made my choice. I'm the deceased playing victim. Slit the face, slit the victory. I think I've made my choice. Sink secluded in hatred. Avoid the plans friends are making. I think I've found my voice. Takes defeat, it's a sandbag sailing solution.
I need to leave this Discord. I'm not fucking in it.
Sailing solution to all your sailing solution.
It's not muted. Enjoy that. Hi! Hello, welcome. It's called I'm looking at Discords and just people being annoying, but hi, welcome. We're playing Minecraft because I finally fucking fixed it. Even though my settings are, fucked. Ignore the church bells going off. Also, enjoy. This is going to be a slightly longer stream. Why? Because my roommate is not in my room currently, which is like the whole reason, because I respect her privacy. But welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome. Come in. Hello, hello. Wayward, thank you for being fucking G with commands. Because we're switching completely over from Streamlabs to Stream Elements. And also, the stream shouldn't crash as much. Why? Because I finally turned down the, I turned down everything. Alright, so fun fact. Oh god, but Minecraft will still be laggy as shit because my internet sucks. Oh my god, the fan immediately kicked up. Alright, so we are actually not going to be working on we're not going to be working on the biomes, even though we kind of do need to. We're actually going to head, somewhere else. We are actually going to head... Oh god. Fuck, I forgot how to play Minecraft. We are actually going to head to this area. Now, a lot of people mentioned I wanted to do something with this cave. I need a torch. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We are going to actually make this a alchemist like area. Because a lot of people don't know this, but like in any lore type story that involves my character, they are an alchemist. Just because I know how to I brew potions in real life, literally because I'm a weird person, just like mixing things together. But yeah, so first things first, I actually do like the idea of having to like enter doing like this vibe. However, I do not like what is actually under this, because I'm pretty sure if I go into spectator mode, I don't know how to do the fancy stuff just yet. Again, I've not played in forever. I'm pretty sure there's actually other things here. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of shit here. Also, look at all this new stuff that finally registered in. I was about to say, are those fucking diamonds? I literally have been playing so much Genshin Impact, I try to scroll to zoom and not press C. See, your streamer's kind of stupid. See, now this would be a fun place to build some shit. Holy shit. Oh, this would be a fun ass. This would be a fun. Those are diamonds. Hey, yo? Oh god, that's the void. This isn't the roleplay server. I'm kidding, I don't have a roleplay server, but But again, there's pre-written out lore in case we ever do it, which my character is incredibly fucked up. Which this is actually very close to where like the library of the. But yeah. What the hell happened? What happened? My mic is probably peaking because it's been moved. What the hell happened? Okay, we don't question what the hell happened there. Did this happen anywhere else? I was about to say, I really hope not. I still love that effect of like the... Okay. Alright, we're heading back up. Yeah, I will create another end, not an end portal. What is happening? Ooh, pretty sky. But I will create another like end area because I hate how that looks. Ooh, it's a new moon. Alright. So let's actually start working on this. Because first things first, mob spawn here, which isn't fun after a while. First things first, I do want to fill like these areas up a little bit, even though I know this is all gonna get covered up. I'm gonna start killing things. I don't care that I'm not critting shit. I don't do PvP. Don't do PvP. It's not what I do. I literally build shit. Yes, I don't know what I'll fucking do. You can literally tell that by my skybox. Hold up. 1 second. When I tell you I have not opened Hypixel in a hot fucking minute, I haven't opened Hypixel in a hot fucking minute. Again, I will go straight back. I just need to see how much money is in my vault. Oh. 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 Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm not like some people who literally just go. I was like, yeah, I have pretty weak shit. Again, I'm not on here like 24/7. How much money do I have in there? Hi. I don't care. Oh! God, that's such a nice, smooth stream now. I'm like looking at it. We've had no hiccups. I'm gonna say that my stream's gonna crash. I'm gonna jinx myself hard. I ostracized. Ignore that I completely missed that goddamn creeper. Alright. I was like, I could just throw this on peaceful mode, completely forgetting I have an Enderman trapped in a boat. Find myself. Feel the way you look. Don't deserve you. You deserve the world. Feels like we were built from the same dirt. Alright. So there's a bunch of I'm not gonna clear out my inventory because I have shit in here I actually like. Alright. I need to change my Minecraft skin. To say it, your sister was right. Trusting this boy with far too much free time. And I hate to say it, your sister was right. Nothing but a problem. So this could probably be where like I store the bed and everything. To say it, my sister was right. Ooh. It's so pretty like seeing everything here, especially this. I don't know. I'm assuming it probably hasn't. But let's see. Have my shaders changed? Yeah, if you want any of my shaders, here they are. Go ahead. But a lot of them kill your computer. Sky shaders move on, off, cloud settings. I do have the Aurora Borealis enabled, and it's really pretty. I have the N Nebula. Huh, sad. Not gonna fuck with that. These shaders are so annoying to mess with after like you update them. It's goddamn annoying. Okay. Yeah, I like how this is like an actual cave, which like hides more of like the mystery. I swear to God, if more mobs just spawn in here, I'm gonna scream. But yes, I want the bats. Oh, I forgot to mention, update, I will not be streaming next Wednesday. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you stream the past like couple days? It is because Tuesdays, I was actually setting up my tattoo appointment and I was just not feeling good like afterwards because I didn't stop emailing the guy until like 11. So I didn't stream then because I wanted to like answer the emails and not wait any longer. So this Wednesday I will not be streaming because I will be in fucking pain. And then I didn't stream Wednesday because I went out with friends to get waffles. So also update, I might not be streaming as many Wednesdays as I want. But that's just because I'm hanging out with people who I don't get to see very often. But I'm going to actually very quickly like look up some inspiration really quickly. Because even though I know what I want to do, I don't have like the... Shut the fuck up. Because I want to be like very like witchy. Actually, Enstone look really pretty. Oh wait, no, I already have an idea. So I want this and this as of this moment. I don't need these as of right now. Of course, there's already shit spawned. I actually want to keep this part relatively normal. So a lot of this I'm not going to break too harshly, but I'm also gonna follow like the actual like placement of a lot of the items here because they look really nice. Actually, no, fuck it. It's gonna be like that. It's that type of day. It's been this fucking type of week. Actually, I like it better if it's like in the walls because it gives it that feel of like this is a very old place. Does that look nice? That actually looks cool. Actually, wait. There we go. That looks a little bit more natural. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there before, but it's fine. Actually, I think it would fit a lot better like in places like this. And then just, yeah, just alternate it between like that. Yeah, it looks really nice. We are building. Wow, hello. ADHD, decide to come in like a bitch. No, fuck it. Again, I have not touched Minecraft in fucking forever. Because it is just not my forte to play it as often. And it's really because Genshin Impact now has me in a chokehold. The game saw me. Someone who plays D&D was like, chokehold. And I have yet to leave. And now I spent $30 on Ganyu. That is not a joke. I literally spent $30 on Ganyu. Oh, this ceiling's gonna be fucking... That looks cool as hell. That looks... Oh, fuck. What is it called? 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 There it is. Okay, fuck me having like a stack of 60% in my goddamn inventory. Oh shit! That looks pretty. That looks really cool. I don't even have a reference anymore. I'm just like, I'm doing this how I fucking want to. Because I'm a witchy bitch. But I do love the bats like flocking around. Because it just adds to such my vibe. I don't know what I'm going to do for the ground yet. I just hit my child. I am so sorry. I am a terrible parent. Actually, let me finish this area before my ADHD like goes fucking ballistic. Yeah, I'm not, don't touch these ones. Also don't touch, okay, so we're not gonna touch this one or like this wall primarily. So this pillar is gonna stay where it is. I'll figure out a different material to use for the ceiling, and then let's start working here. Switch between the moss. Just to give it more of like a worn-in feel. I was about to say, I hate how that doesn't connect. I don't want to do like, I don't want to use crackstone at the moment. Because I don't think it would really fit with like this. Actually, it would fit with this type of build, but I don't think it would fit with like my style I have set out for this. Yada 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 yada. I am way too tired for this. Oh yeah, I can get rid of this. Leave. I don't give a shit that's not saved. Also, apparently there's people smoking weed. So yeah, apparently there's people who are smoking weed in my dormitory. Enough that like the RAs are snitching to like the head of the building. And so now I'm pretty sure like one of the floors is gonna get searched soon. And I just think it's hilarious. Because all of us know who, because most of the people at the school know who does. So yeah, one of the floors is gonna get searched and it's gonna be great. But yeah, I'm really sad. I like miss people's streams because I wasn't feeling good. Alright. I didn't realize I had a torch out. It's fine, don't worry about it, Chief. Yeah, I'll do, this is basically where the limit will go. The children are having fun. I'm just getting rid of this, because mostly, I definitely think this is where like mostly all this stuff is gonna go. So I'm just gonna, like, flatten this area out. Fuck me. Oh, also, I have a YouTube channel. Well, it's being in production, and me and Wayward are working on the first video, so that will be coming out very shortly. And we also just kind of have to make sure, like, make the YouTube video look, like, nice and proper and all that shit. It's there. You can follow it. It's literally just Air Venus. Yeah, I just need to do some things. Also, who the fuck followed my VOD channel? Like, 3 of you fucks followed it. My question is why? It's literally just previous things. Even me and Wayward collectively lost like 4. Who? Who? The video that's really getting so popular is copyright claimed. And my foot's asleep. Ah, what is it because? Oh, it's because of fucking Concrete by Lovejoy. Yeah, copyright. It's actually Lovejoy, which is very funny. Because they have their own record now. Oh. Oh, ha. But okay. Okay. Back to building. Because I will, like, want to see how this fully looks. I'm not switching to slabs just so then this goddamn stuff doesn't connect. Not taking off my texture pack. I fucking refuse. Passion of sanctuary. This is a day that everything will fall. You're caught in the lightning, coming once and for all. Death is a crime, recognize in your mind. All corrupted, corrupted. In your eyes, if you will survive. Is justice, is this justice? As defender, no surrender. Raise your shield and cry for help. 'Cause no one is coming, no one is coming. Walk through fire and straight into hell. Doomsday's coming, your doomsday's coming. Betrayal breeds revenge. You sought out your own end. This is for Phil's Minecraft, you bitch. There we go. Oh god, there's an entire fucking army. Die. I fucking missed. How the hell are you still alive? Oh god. Die. I basically just entered Phil's and Minecraft's worst nightmare. There we go. Look, only the bats get to stay. Why is my phone going off? Hold up. Oh shit, there was an email. That might be important. Ugh. Never mind. They were not important. Oh, grab again anyways. Well, I just just got really fucking dizzy because low iron deficiency is a bitch. I return. Is this justice? No surrender, raise your shield and cry for help. Move! No one is coming, no one is coming. Through fire and straight into hell. Doomsday's coming, your doomsday's coming. Betrayal breeds revenge. You sought out your own end. This is what happens when you turn your back on a friend. For last amends, you saw your life condemned. And to your cursed doomsday. I'll add the mossy blocks in later. I just want to gently just fill these in really quickly. What you've done is your called glory. Wow, I listen to these songs so much and yeah, I fuck up the lines. You still believe you're the hero of your story. So normal. Fuck off, Ren. Hi. How you doing, Ren? Oh my god, okay. So I can't be in my dorm room now because I'm literally losing my fucking mind. Like, I'm going stir crazy in my own dorm room. And also it's because I have not been, like, mentally the best. So I have just been, like, feeling, like, trapped in my room. So I left. I left for an hour. And I just walked around, like, the plate. Like, where I live. And I was like, oh. Okay. There's an art store, like, close to where I go to school. And I was like, oh, okay. So let me just head in that general direction. And before I even got to the turn, my brain went, let's turn here. So I turned a place that I've never been to before. And I just went on a whole ass journey. And I found my theater. Like, my performance theater. That I did not know. And then I fucking found out Hades Town is performing here. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh, hello. Yeah, you can stay. You're fine. You're chill. And I was like, wait. I'm just now learning this, that fucking Hades Town, their one performance I want to go see is performing. And I'm hearing about it now. Tickets are sold out, which sucks. Because it would have been nice to, like, go see it. Because I know this is Amber's, the person who plays Persephone's, like, last time playing. And I was really sad when I learned that. So I was like, damn, this kind of sucks. But I was like, I will just vibe without it. Shut the fuck up. Alright, I'm gonna leave this area still light. Actually, that'd be cool to just have, like, moss there, because that's technically where the bedroom leads. Forcing a personal grudge. Yeah, I basically walked around, and I was on a Discord call with Ren, V, and another friend of ours named Atlas. And, it was, like, getting close to 3. And Atlas kept, like, begging me to go back to my dorm room. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no. You know, I love Atlas, but he, like, kept joking. He's like, I swear to God, go back to your dorm now. I left around, honestly, like, 3:30, and I found my way back in, like, record time. Like, I found one of the areas that I turned, and I got back to my dorm in, like, record time, which was actually really impressive for me. Because I am known for having a shit memory, but I took a turn, and I saw, like, a park nearby, and I was like, oh, I turn here. Shut the fuck up. Whether if you could so kindly please shut up, but also be enjoyable, that'd be great. I hate how this wall looks. Looking like a mess now. Driving off the track, but I'm back and I've seen hell, but this is a bit more my style. gonna cry about it. You should see the other guy. Actually, that'd be cool if it kind of just went along. That's a bad guy. There we go. So then I can add some of this. Means to a pen. Actually, can I bring this down? Oh, fuck, that'd be cool. Wait, bone meal. 2.5 years I spent. Oh, fuck you. Doesn't grow the way I want it to. Actually, I might add vines to give it like that vibe of, Cry about it, you should see the other guy. Yeah, the vines look weird with this texture pack, but I enjoy it. This is my dump. Oh, fuck off! I'm not waiting for that to grow. Shut up and listen. Regardless. Listen, I don't like this song, but damn it, it's a vibe. Also, I'm pretty sure someone's using this for a project in my school, so. I watched a One Dream stream where he does that, and I start doing the clicky shit. I spent on that platform bent. So, yeah, I'm gonna hate myself every time I do that click now. Cry about it, you should see the other guy. Also, I'd like to formally apologize because as I'm like thinking about this, I like to apologize to every person who tries to draw me with the amount of times I've cut my hair. I have cut my hair so much that, like, it's become an inside joke that no one's going to see me with my actual hair. Cause we know. So if you watch my if you watch any of my FaceTime or like my streams that have face cam, which are all on the VOD channel, that's not free promotion. My hair is like pretty like medium length. It goes down to like slightly under my collarbone. Yeah, no, it barely reaches there now. My hair is so short that it doesn't reach my collarbone anymore. Especially since I have somewhat like wavy hair. So it barely like caresses my shoulder. Like I can still put it up so like have fun, but it's fucking ridiculous how it looks now. How many bats are in here? There's 4. I need an anvil and a name tag. We're naming the bats. If you want to be named, say your piece now. Why can I not name this? Oh. See, I'm kind of stupid. Welcome back to I haven't played this game. Okay. Wayward Ren and V got to do this for free because I literally practically live with my ass. Alright, which one of you can I name tag? There we go, we got a Wayward. Ren, why the fuck is your username so complicated? No, I'm going Renway. At this point. Fuck you, Ren. I'm kidding, I love you. Love you, bestie. That's Wayward. I almost just renamed Wayward. Oh my god, bats are so fucking fast. There's actually an easier way to do this. There's an easier fucking way to name bats. There we go. That's easy. I'll name V later. They literally made a fucking joke to put a leash on me. A lot of people are probably very confused by this sentence, but there's context, and it's great context. Cause I lack all impulse control. If Mage V ever met me or re-saw me IRL, he's gonna put a leash on me so I can actually have some control. No, that is not a goddamn joke. Ren can attest. And I'm guessing YouTube pulled a Spotify. Sure did. YouTube is fucking annoying. Wasn't quite what I thought I'd be when I was a kid on VYP. Thought when I get older, marry her, I told her. Now I'm 26 and I work in an office 9 to 5, not the best, I'll be honest. I could change a single thing and make it me, not him. He's in your bed and I'm in your Twitch chat. I fucking dropped my charger. I've got the key and he's just a doormat. Even though he's got social skills, that doesn't mean I can't pay the bills. Anyway, make the most of it. He moves on pretty bloody quick. Oh, your new boyfriend's an asshole. Why do I have a Twitter notification? What the fuck? I need to check that, don't I? Probably. 1 second. Because I don't get Twitter notifications. Oh, oh, I know who involved. Oh, fuck, I missed Tails' SMP. Whoops, that's fine. Push against his fashion sense. Oh, it's someone literally liking a tweet that I said I looked like an anime person with my hair. She's living the dream, living the dream, living the dream. Oh, she's... Oh, this is gravel. Make my life easier. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Ah, fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. Sand. Sandstone. I just think that I deserve a little bit of what I've earned. Not me when I was 23, cause I'm not allowed in Disney World. I still can't get over that this man is really not allowed in Disney. You bet and I'm in your Twitch chat. Key and he's just a doormat. This doesn't feel natural. Even though it is. That doesn't mean I can't pay the bills. Anyway, make the most of it. Oh, I forgot, I have puddles. Hell yeah. New boyfriend's an asshole. Oh my god, I forgot I literally have puddles. See, this just looks cool. Oh, I could do this with a torch, but I'm annoyed. If he wasn't fine as hell. Oh. No, we're leaving this here. The Enderman left me a gift. Hi, friend. Listen, I want you to notice me. No strings on me. Cinderella, want you to care. Want to smell your hair. If I said this to someone, they would fucking obliterate my soul. Also, I found people who are Rambo fans in my school, and I am not surprised, but also, hello. Oh god, this is gonna be... Fuck my life. About to say, isn't most of this getting covered up by, No, I'm just gonna do that, because I'm too fucking annoyed to deal with anything else. There's nothing here. Fuck, there's more. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Is there any more fucking gravel? No, cool. Because that would be a pain in my ass to deal with. And I don't want to deal with that. Oh. Cool. Sorry, I was like reading something. I have to send an email to someone, but it's like they give a shit because my school literally changed who the fuck I have to talk to like every other week, and I'm like, no. I fucking refuse. I had a good one, and then you do this shit to me. You don't get to do that scot-free and me not be angry. Nope. No care given. Handerman. Looks good. Thank you, friend. Especially with the glow vines, it adds like that nice appeal. Oh, the sun's coming up. Dun, dun. Da, 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 da. I hate people. Yeah, I forgot to mention, I live smack dab in downtown. So me hearing cars just go zoom is normal. Yeah, some of this is going to be some of this is gonna be mossy stone a little bit. Yeah. Also, I might redo my hardcore series, but do it with Origins instead. Because I feel like I would have a lot more fun with Origins. I just have to find the right one to use. Because I know the one I would usually use... Oh, hello, friend. Will drive me absolutely insane. Because I mostly use the... actually, no, I can use... I could probably do Ghastling. I don't know. There's a bunch of also other ones I want to add. Oh my god. Fuck. What the fuck? I'm not supposed to hear Discord notifications. Oh, I turned it off. God damn it. It turned off. That scared the shit out of me. Okay, cool. Sorry. Actually, I might use some of the deep slate polish because it looks really nice. Holy shit, I'm almost done. Hi. I'm almost done with this one. No. I love this bow. Wait, does it? Holy shit, it does. Nice. I don't care what people say, the Enderman is staying. Don't care. Yes? Hello, friend. Hi.
Wrote it down in the winter of 16.
friend. He's not gonna get mad at me. Oh my god, wait. Where's the gravel at? I saw the particles. I didn't think it was gonna be like that, and I'm mad. Oh, also, I might be able to re-download Stardew Expanded. I just have to redo all the mods and shit. I could actually just... I could probably just email the files to myself because I had them stored on another computer. And then... So yeah, that'd be fun playing Stardew Valley Expanded. Just continue on with the file I have and try to woo Olivia. Sorry, Sebastian. Listen, she's a MILF. I don't give a shit. You know, this area is gonna be like mostly is gonna have this be like the cobblestone. Yeah. Fuck the granite. I was like, I don't know why. I literally have to continue. Because this is all gonna be replaced with. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Da, 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 da. Come on. Let's go. Not there. Thank you. I was like, is my Enderman friend still here? I see the spider. I almost hit a bat. I'm pretty sure both these bats are named. Oh my god, Ren, your bat almost died. God, Ren, no offense, but your bat is just as stupid as you are. I love you. Love you, Ren. I deserve that. I deserve that cold-heartedly. Ren, I was about to ask if you want to come to Chinatown with us, completely forgetting you're not where I live. Yeah, I'm going to Chinatown tomorrow. Me and a bunch of friends who don't go to my school. I almost said my school's name. That would have been bad. Just want to go to Chinatown. Depending how the weather is, because it was like super nice, but also where I live, you get like the where I go to school, you get the occasional snow. So we will see. My entire body just said pain. That was not fun. Oh god. Ah, What do you want me to say? Okay, I'm saying stuff. Why are you asking me this? The captions are on? Well, shit. I also do need to get like a new captions thing. Because the one I use is terrible. I'm seeing water leaking. There we go. I got really focused. Oh, my foot's asleep. No. Oh, fuck. Ow. Ow. That kind of hurt. Holy shit, this goes fucking far. And again, I'm okay with this area being completely... Yeah, I was about to say I'm fine with this area being just completely... I hate gravel, man. Behind a screen, I'm half human and half machine. Yeah, like partial. Fuck. Oh my god. Actually, where's like the place I said I wasn't gonna build to? This wall. So here's where we'll stop. Like building to give some of like the natural stone. Like the feel that this place was not naturally built. Because I like that idea. Also, who knows, this might actually be used for lore. We'll see. I'm kidding. I'm literally a part of like no like lore servers. And I frankly, at the moment, don't want to be any. Especially one in particular I don't want to be within 50 feet of. Oh, hello, Enderman. How you doing, buddy? What should we name the Enderman? He's living with us now. Message 2:45. Wake up from snoring, opens DMs, and a Red Bull by the bed. Vape is charged and Snapchat's red. It's a ponder. Yeah, that's all gonna be her. She's beauty, she's grace. She has a profile picture of an anime girl's face. Just a single message board. The internet. Wanna be the guy you fall asleep on call with. Make you forget every guy that's came before me. I like you, and you like my attention. Skip to the good thing, treat the internet connection. I'm in love with her, I'm in love with her. With the e-girl, I'm in love with her. With her. Mom took away my PS4, so I punched a hole through my bedroom. Not aggressive, just use masculine passion. Did you also know I got depression? Self-diagnosed, thought I should mention. Could be the one to fix me. This is not what you do with people. Be the girl you fall asleep on calling. Meanwhile, I'd have the people to talk with, like me, and I think you're a maniac. Completely block all contact. I'm in love with that. With an eagle, I'm in love with that. With an eagle, took away my PS4. I've said it so many times before. I keep on collecting.
Every little slight's an insurrection,
Constant pain in every direction.
My body weeps, disbelief head suspension.
I was like thinking, I'm gonna be so sad if this is all just infested stone. This one's gonna be slightly, like, shorter. There we go. Yay! The walls are mostly done. That was the weakest. No, turning off my lamp. There we go. Because my eyes are, like, watering from all, like, the brightness. Oh god, I haven't streamed like this in forever. I was about to say, let me turn on, like, my lights. I forgot I took out the batteries to put on a different project. But this is just so pretty seeing. Actually, what is my, like, lighting on? What am I supposed to, what is this supposed to be on? Oh god. Hello. No thank you. Brightness, please. Thank you very much. Haha. Also, what the fuck is my sound? Oh god, no. Yeah, I was like, please go on my headphones. There we go. Because I don't know about, like, where 50% of the time my audio goes. But okay. What do I want to actually see how this looks first. Like, again. Actually, I want to see how it looks against. Yes. Oh, that blends in perfectly. Cool. Again, we're gonna actually leave this alone. So we're gonna start from here. Try not to fall into the cave. Holy sh... Ooh, that's a nice breeze. And let's just go fucking haywire. Okay, first of all, let me, like, fill out where this, like, entire cave system is. Okay. Awesome. It starts right there. The Legends of Vox Machina came out today. I completely fucking forgot. I'm 3 episodes behind. Also, no! I've come to the conclusion. We are not watching that on stream. Because I will get struck down so goddamn fast. Even though it is on Amazon, but Amazon already got some fucked up shit already on there, so. And how to feel like this difference. Now you're here at the end. All of them go, I'll be okay, yeah. At the end. Oh god, it keeps... Is this entire thing just cave? No! No! Come back! No! No, come back, friend! Actually, no, we're not gonna do that. Yeah, like here I'll do this, because it's like a raised platform kind of thing. Lo-fi music! Actually, no, we'll leave that there, because that's a part of the original. Why the fuck does it look so dark? Oh, it's really because the sun is just rising. Cool. How the fuck is that iron golem still alive? I would like to know this. Me wondering why my mushroom cows don't look like mushroom cows. Oh, fuck. I went to lean back my chair, but my skirt has a, like, pearl zipper design. So I just had that dig right into my back. That hurt like a motherfucker. Ow. Okay, that just really hurt. Ow. There's a creeper in here and I really don't care. I do, however, want to see where this leads. I swear to God, this does not lead anywhere. Oh, the Enderman got dirt. I'm so mad this doesn't lead anywhere. Oh, maybe. Maybe. I'm so angry. I genuinely thought this was gonna lead somewhere. Oh, wait. Maybe. Maybe. Nope, I'm sad. It is all just great disappointment. Hello, friend. Wrong material. Also, even though you really can't hear it, this is like such a nice ass sound. You're probably hearing like every wayward move. Don't you dare talk about, don't you dare talk back to me. I'm the older one. No offense, I love lo-fi music, but at this point, I don't really want to. I've heard Girl in Red all day when I was walking. No, that was poopy music, god damn it. Actually, where is... There it is. Ow! Here it is. Nah. I was about to say I could heal him, but nah. You got the same eyes as your father, and you carry the same kind of temper too.
Oh, a shame for the people of your community. Everything's fight and a lark, and they better way to spin out a jar or two. He's a model
Citizen through and through.
but quite like a girlfriend. I'll fuck shit up with you. You
about me, don't you? In the backseat of my car, the engine, she's the star. Now, you need to calm down. What good's this energy? You're devoted to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now, you need to calm down. Don't think I need my name in my sleep. I thought you knew how better than me. Don't give me that face. Trust is proof. Still running away from you. Same eyes as your father. You carry the same kind of temper too. She told me that she fucking hates you. Now you need to calm down. What gives this energy? When you devoted to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now you need to calm down. You still think I need my name in her sleep. I thought you knew her better than me. I love that line because it's just like such a slap in the face of like, and I thought you knew them. Her better than me. Now you need to calm down. What good's this energy? Devoted to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now you need to calm down. This energy. Devoted to me, why not be a little more friendly? Now you need to calm down. Think I need name in her sleep. I thought you knew her better than me. Such a cold comeback, I love it. Again, I don't know like any of the lyrics like any of these songs except for Part B because I listened to that song too fucking much. And that is like not an exasperation. I listened to that song too goddamn much. This already looks fucking cool. Saw that your heart's in the right place. So you're so appealing. I see your hair receding. Do when I'm sober. It's always right. You're gonna right. Get me out of this. You're just scared. You're just scared of the future. Run away. Get me out of this. You're just scared. You're just scared of the future. Just make you right. Feel lucky that you didn't try to know. So appealing. Breath of fresh air on summer evening. The song goes. Oh shit, I have to turn an assignment. Well, I have it partially done. But again, I have to turn it in because I have a oh fuck, I have a conference too. Oh fuck. Get me out of this. You're just scared. You're just scared of the future. Right? You're right. Get me out. You're just scared. Future. Scared. Oh my god, my eyes are actually starting to hurt. Ow. I think it's because I had a headache, so now my body's just like, ooh, this doesn't feel nice. No, my eyes are watering. Give me a second. Just Model buses? No, this is concrete. My brain literally short circuit. No, what fucking song is this? It's not. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, this is concrete. Oh, model buses was the other one. I'm so glad I don't have my face cam on because I look like an absolute fucking train wreck. And again, ow. I'm in actual pain. The words. Lips are empty and fiber. Hope the salt's what the ruins close, and I hope you spend the rest of your life living alone. All this over a kiss. Oh my god, Erzak is doing a prop hunt with Koi. With Koi, Laura, and Alejandro. Which I know Koi and Alejandro. I don't know. Well, actually, no, I do know Lauren's song. Had it my way, sleep on the concrete. You say to me all this, so not strong, not strong, left me off easily. I was like, why is my thing flickering? And I was like, what the hell is happening? Desperation. Listening to you, all I'm saying is don't pay without wanting to hit yourself. All this over a kiss. Hi, Wayward. Why do you both do this to me? Still here, I'm not leaving. Again, why do you both do that? Again, I'm looking at something else right now, and I'm also like looking at this fucking assignment to make sure I did it right, because my teacher makes it, because so then you have to turn your shit in at 12 a.m. 12 p.m. noon on a Saturday. It's stupid, but I'm not sure. Is he saying I'm not sure, or he's saying I'm not sure. God fucking damn it. Oh no, I don't want to tell this. I hate myself that I'm a dumbass. I need to add, actually, you know what, no, I actually almost have, actually, you know what, no, I could play Franbo if I wanted to. Sorry, that just popped in my head that I can play it. It's 45 a.m. and I just bite my tongue. Blame me on your life, and now you found the one. And I don't like his lies, and I just trust the name. And I hate the heck out of it. They look like a prick, but it's all the same. You drafted me to cry, your tongue is razor sharp. I miss swearing with five, but I left your heart on standby. By the way he holds you, and he serenades you, I can't really blame you. But I can still smell the perfume. What would be a nice material to like combat all this? Didn't rub off on you. I don't want to go with like black, but I also want to go with like an accent color. Still smell the perfume. Shut up, phone. Didn't rub off on you. You say your ex-boyfriend's a policeman. I say he needs men to stand up. Say your ex-boyfriend's a policeman. There's smooth bath salt? Salt since when? It seems like all her friends abruptly fell in love. She was in the dust, darling. I was dreaming fast. So she learned to lie, she learned how to pretend. Drama in the futile, it means to an end. Why can't you be a dick? Why must you be so nice? It's hard for me to move on when I don't really hate you. I don't really hate you. Can still smell her perfume. Tear up off on you. Can still smell her perfume. Tear up off on you. I hate that. I hate how, like, fences don't actually match up in this. It's fucking annoying. Actually, wait. Trap doors. There we go. Ah, fuck. It's 3:45. The taxi's not arrived. I don't think it is coming. There we go. I'm probably gonna do like dark oak. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do dark oak just to like add to it. In the break room, falls asleep on her shoulder in the break room. Been inside for too long. Where the fuck is my iPad? There it is. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was like, did I just lose my iPad that I didn't even have for like a month, a year? In your dark secret, but you're talking in your sleep. Hi, V. How are you doing, mate? I got the leash. No! 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 Okay, so a lot of people are like, what the fuck is the leash? Uh-oh. Oh no, what happened? Oh no. Dry your eyes into the untrue. Uh-oh. Oh no, things are going wrong. Oh no, the bitrate broke! God damn it, V, you joined and shit broke. Wait until next week. No, you're fucking not. Alright, it's better now, so refresh. Or it should be better. Oh god, is the entire Stray Wanderers crew here? Holy shit. Holy shit, for once we are all in the same place at once. This is fucking interesting. The sky is just pretty. I also do need to change my skin. The sky is pretty. Oh, I was hitting cap locks, not shift. Alright, back to building. Under the weight of a broken house. It's not that simple, but he won't seem to notice. Alright, we're just gonna follow where, like, the... Yeah, that adds more of, like, the friendly feel. We're just gonna follow where the stone goes.
So leave those sinker states in. Let's book a
Holidays.
holiday. Setting all the counties blue. Cause we're already boring and we're already hoarding. What else have we got left?
Left to the... And the rest will say... Such a marvelous view. We don't know how many lives it took now. We're so calm, but we're fucking scared, fucking scared. Fucking scared, fucking scared. We're fucking scared, fucking scared. So calm, but we're fucking scared of people like you. Cup of Prozac. Must be more to this.
We've got a country house now. Old dog has been put down now. Oh, it's nice to be you. Custom license plate on our Audi R8. How many roses
What can't do you? And the rest will say such a marvelous view.
treadmill still?
Oops. Don't make miss you so. So, when all and see the apathy, the recent grace and souls to build a tapestry. I look through all of you and see a different fucking species. Aspiration for a different destination to be. Across the deadline. Life and night and before. Or something. Also, I'm great. I have no idea what the fuck he says. Even when I look up like the lyrics to the song, it makes my brain shut the fuck down. It's like I do not hear these words. I hear different words that make brain go burr. Yeah, this will be the last area I like cover. Nope, we're leaving that area alone. Yeah, we're leaving that area alone because it's natural looking. I've lost the passion that comes with living. Since I started university, took a geography course to learn the datelines, maybe use a sextant. Now I just press facsimile. Exactly who you want it to be. That's what you say. If you wanna watch TV and sleep all day and lay in bed, but you're forgetting that I've gotta go to work and eat my food, pay my rent and reproduce and feed those kids and maybe use a sextant. I don't miss you. It's the thought of what we were. This is the part where I shut up and let you infest my brain. Your arms around my cortex, let you in, let you drain. You will never get rid of me. I'm like a fucking disease. I'll make a home in your gut. 'Cause it's somewhere warm to sleep. What you thought when you realized you'll never feel naive love again? Was it pain or was it sickness? Were you proud of who you've been? Shiting's waiting for his phone call, placed by apathy. The dating app on his hand, it felt like dying. It's just another. He was inside you. He's talking marriage and the future. He's picking a lock he doesn't go into. Left in the room to suit you. I don't miss you. The thought of what we were. 'Cause this is the fire I shut up and let you press my brain and wrap your arms around my golden. Oh fuck, I forgot it's this area that I don't go past, my bad. Like a fucking disease, I'll make a home in your gut. Somewhere warm to sleep, it's okay. Yeah, no, I'll leave that kind of like stony, but this area I'm not touching. Like you feel less known, it's okay. Like you feel less known, it's okay. Those kids. Fuck! It's a sexton. Gotta be honest, I fucking hate the song. Oh god, everything broke. Like, everything literally fucking broke all of a sudden. My bad. Please don't do that song. No, I got in trouble for the song. No. Oh, I would just also like to say thank you to Nintendo for literally getting rid of half my music I listen to. No. Perfect. I literally had an entire study playlist I used for like when I study. And I looked like 2 days ago and the entire goddamn thing was gone. And I'm mad. God fucking damn it, that's Tubbles. Stop. No, it's not. Oh shit, who the fuck are you?
Have to kill my cat.
Why'd I have to take you back? Time and time to play the end. Why, but the lights on and an empty bug. That's violet with the seat left up.
It's closure like a deer in headlight. One day
I know that you will be there one day. I'll focus on the future, maybe one day.
oh baby, isn't life so fun?
Who is this?
One day I know that you will be there.
One day I'll focus on the future, maybe one day.
Oh baby, isn't life
It has to be them.
So let's talk about what I want to do. 'Cause all I want to do is turn back
They don't show up in any other stream.
Tuesdays to before I found one life turned to a Saturday.
Last time, but not
afraid of empty rooms. I'm not afraid of new perfume. And in fact, my dear, I'm fucking terrified. One day, I know that you will be there. One day, I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day, oh baby, isn't life so fucking inconsistent? One day, I know that you will be there. One day, I'll focus on the future. Maybe one day, oh baby, isn't life so fucking consistent?
Yeah, so I don't know why it's not showing up anywhere else. That's weird. Okay. Awesome. Cool. This game is literally just me pausing it to figure shit out. I don't even care if I'm not following what the fuck this is anymore. I am not doing that shit. No. One day I know that you will be there. One day, focus on the future, baby. One day, fucking consistent. One day I know that you will be there. One day. No, that didn't happen. That literally went like that. Okay, I'm doing what the fuck is easier because my brain is now just going on hyperdrive. I forgot the song is in this fucking playlist.
Redesign your logo. We know what we're doing. We are here to help you. Everything's connected. Time is of the essence. We live in the future.
Ooh, the lighting got fucked up there.
Power makes us hungry. Everything's connected. Redesign your logo.
Oh, I was about to say, why is there only one Baptist dude? Kindly get the fuck out of here, please.
Calculations. Put them into action.
I didn't change the shuffle.
The angle. Starting with convention. On to innovation.
Get out of here.
Everything's connected. Here we have a circle. Smooth and inoffensive. This will be the basis
What the fuck?
for your revolution. Gravity
I'd say usually
is
with that
crucial.
weapon I can two-shot things. Or one-shot
With
things.
some calculation, we will find your logo. DNA is crucial. We must understand it. In the human genome, we will
I know I said this is gonna be a longer stream, but I'm literally tired, so I might end at 9:30 my time.
see it. Are they even human?
Or I might just jump onto something else. Because I'm fucking exhausted. Actually, no, I will be fine. I want to stream longer. But my body's just like, no, fuck you.
Every demographic. Men
Maybe because my mic is in such a weird way that my brain is just seeing the light of it.
poets, fat Midwestern fathers,
Because I moved it so where it's not up to the side, but it's kind of like almost right in front of me,
others under 20,
but not at the same time.
atheist professors, government employees, xenophobes and racists, private aviators. Everyone will see it.
God, I need more music that I can play when I stream. But also I want music that YouTube will not obliterate me for.
Think about it this way. Guided evolution. This will be a new breed. Cutting edge, but classic. Fully complementary. Bold and self-sufficient. Symbolizing freedom. And, of course, your product. When the logo is finished, then we will unveil it. 7 billion people. Instantly enlightened. Everyone's rebranded. All the fighting's over. Say goodbye to conflict.
Fuck it.
That design's rejected. There's no longer language, only recognition. There's no longer country, only corporate colors. Color makes us
Oh god, I didn't realize that line.
makes us human. Everyone can see it. Everything's connected.
Shit, I put them in the wrong spot. Sorry, I don't think you heard me say release, but I was just like, Rambo. I don't know why. Hey, Wayward, I need you to do a favor. I don't know if you're here, but if you could just kindly remind me to message someone about something. You already know what I'm gonna say. That would be greatly fucking appreciated. Because I keep forgetting to message them. Thank you. I was like, I see a piece of stone. This feels weird. Voila! It is! The main area is done. Hallelujah, thank God. Whoa! Whoa. Again, I wishing there was music I could listen to without the fear of getting in trouble with copyright. But again, I'm not gonna do that because I'm a bitch. Also, my ear to download. And a completely other and unrelated news. I want to download Tinder. Oh, I'm so okay. No wonder that it was like that. You can't climb them up, which is kind of sad. But I'm not gonna argue with it. Fuck the sea pickles at the moment. But alright, now it's just time to add some light. And also, like, make this an alchemy place. But I do want to work on this area. Which I'm gonna actually do with the brick version of the deep slate, because that looks really nice, and I kind of want to continue the floor but make it look like this area was actually like built, if you know what I mean. Oh no, I want to do deep slate tiles. This is what I mean. This is such a nice ass sound. This makes brain go burr. Right deep, bitches like me. Also, just Corpse's voice in this. Also, just. I'm also. No, I'm gonna say this. I'm deeply proud of Corpse. For voice acting. Actually, I have normal candles. I don't like these retextured books, I'm sorry. Tea bitches like me. I was like, I know they don't produce a lot of light, but keeping them next to where the bed is gonna be was gonna be nice. I'm gonna do a gray bed, just because I usually don't work with gray beds a lot. Alright. Going back to how I normally do my my builds, which is basically like cobblestone and corners. Actually, no, this would be cobblestone too, and then the rest of this would be just spruce wood. Actually, no, the bottom would also be cobblestone. Oh, someone just tweeted. I have like a few people, like their notifications are turned on. So if you're one of those people, hi, I appreciate you. Damn, I thought this was a different song, but I'll take it.
Our universe was closed.
Yeah, I was about to say, this isn't as, like, nice as my usual builds are, but again, this is literally, like, a 3... Yeah, I was like, this is usually a lot taller. But I enjoy this, because it, like, gives, like, that homey, cozy feel. And it literally gives me just my normal, like, building vibes.
Every time we open up
Eyes.
I guess space and time.
Boop, boop. Yeah, everything else, actually, let's do wood here. Just because this isn't, yeah. There we go. Yay! Alright, now let's just add some light here. God damn it. Yeah, there we go. Just so then there's some light and also like it gives a feel like, hey, there's something there. I don't know why I deleted the torches. Who escaped? Ren. Damn it, Ren, you are a fucking menace to society. In and out of Minecraft. I don't know who's worse, you or V. I am. You know, no, that's kind of true. V, you do cause more shit for me. How the fuck did I miss? No, I wanna rewatch that. I moved my cursor, that's why. Twitch really said, like, you're not allowed to have fun, because it's saying I have one viewer when I know for damn well I don't. And I usually don't care. I usually have it turned off, but I think it's kind of funny. Wait, is this the... This is the sniper fork. Wait, I want to fuck around with the sniper fork. Wait. Hehehehe. Oh. Actually, whether is it rain or thunder where I can strike lightning with this when I hit stuff? Oh, I just pissed off the Enderman. My bad. I didn't hit it. Excuse me? Damn it, it has to be thundering. Wow, I'm a terrible speller. Let's cause chaos. I fucking missed. Where's the villager? Oh, there's two. Oh God! I'm being a chaotic little shit right now, and I appreciate it. Let's just, there they go. Nice. Am I fighting for? Holy shit, he died! And you stop believing. I'm sorry, you're alive? There we go. I love the sound it makes. Oh, I have to pull it back all the way for it to strike. Oh, it doesn't strike like horses like that. Oh, that's sad. Oh, crying. No crying. I almost said in the beginning. One you will turn on. What happens if I hit the golem? Sorry, buddy. Oh god, he's on fire. Move out of the fire, dumbass. Alright, I'm gonna heal him with iron. I feel bad. Hi, please don't smack me to hell. That's raw. Here it is. Look, I like being a fucky wucky. But I make up for my mistakes. Is that a puddle? That's a puddle. Hell yeah. Ding ding. Ding ding. Oh god, that poor villager. Where is he? He's gonna come around. About to say, bitch, that's been pulled back for I don't know how long. Wait, what happens if I throw it through the, Oh, that's a phantom. Fuck you. Oh, bye. Actually, I wanna know what happens when I, like, shoot one out a portal. Oh. Did that one go through? I didn't hear it hit. Oh god, they just go directly right through the portal. Oh god, I'm scared to go through. And see, like, the horrendous amount of, tries. Oh my god, they're on fire. Wait, can I strike fire in the overworld? Or in the nether, I meant? No, I can't. That'd be cool as shit, though. Alright. Bop. Alright. Oh, game froze. Holy shit, there's still a cat? Hold up, I want the cat. Fuck. Raw cod. Hi. Where'd he go? Hi. Will you love me? Hi. Yay! We got a cat. I'm pretty sure this is actually the ragdoll cat. And if it is, he's being named Snowball. I don't care. You don't get to name the cats. You name everything else but cats. Let's take him back to the hobbit hole. Please tell me that's a skeleton or a witch. Cool. Doesn't matter. Why the fuck? Why are you not? Why are you not with her? I'm I'm just gonna leave that be. Where's the cat? There we go. I thought the cat was gonna go, like... There you are. There's Snowball. Actually, you know what? No, we're taking Snowball to the alchemist area. There you are. There's Snowball. Snowball's being a little chaotic, which like all cats are sometimes. I don't even know what came here. Oh, it's all just creepers. I love cats, man. Where? God damn it! And I'm pretty sure Ren's gone, so I don't have any bats in here. Hi, kitty. Here, I will make a nice little area for you over here. Because here I was just going to put a... I was going to put a crafting table over here with a lectern. Am I blind or do I just not see a lectern? Oh my god, some fucking redstone. You can sit there, Snowball. Yeah, there we go. And then I know I said I was gonna work on like adding that, but I frankly really don't want to at the moment. Give me all the redstone. Ooh, a nice breeze just came in. Very nice. Alright, I don't need, actually, fuck, I do need gunpowder. Because it's a material. Oh god, I'm gonna get like so confused with like what's a Skyblock ingredient and what's not, because Skyblock has like custom potions where you can use normal materials, which doesn't get fun sometimes. But also let's go add an ender chest in here. If anyone's wondering like where like most of this stuff comes from, this is actually what I have in Another World, or I had in Another World, but I just don't play in that world anymore because frankly there's nothing like special happening on it. I played on it before, it was that one server, but I just do not have the motivation to go and like play on it a lot. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put a bookcase right here. Actually, I need a loom because I do like the idea of like some of these being empty. Because it's just a nice like detail. Yeah, this shelf can be empty. There we go. We can do one more here just to make it look. Hey kitty, and then enchantment table. Let's say what level is it gonna give me? It's probably not gonna give me a good level. Yeah. I don't want to break anyone. That's actually not too bad, but Let's see if I put it right there. Oh, that's actually worse. Okay, so we'll go right here. Oh god, ew. Power 1. Again, I have a better one like in my house, but I thought this would just be nice to have here. Power 1. Cool. Yeah, because that like looks like a cool little feature, and it's next to where our friend left us. Yeah, the crafting table. Now it's on to the main part, which is just the, Ow. Fuck. That was my neck that just cracked. It's 9 o'clock. I'm sorry, but I'm getting, like, fucking exhausted right now, and I'm walking all day tomorrow, so I think I'm gonna end stream right now. I think I'm gonna end stream. I built all of this, and frankly, like, my inspiration for it is like kind of dwindling because I know I'm gonna do stuff there, but I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with the rest of this. So we are actually gonna turn that off. No, that's a sad song. I don't want a sad song playing. Again, I like the song, but I don't want it playing at the moment. Quickly looking through, I do need to make like separate playlists. I need to make one that just has like, here, I'll play Your New Boyfriend. Alright. Who is live at the moment? And again, me and yeah. But me and Weird do need to transfer a lot of our original things, but let's see. Who is live? Give me a second. I'm gonna very quickly unfollow someone because I don't watch their content.
If I could change a single thing, I'd make it me and not him. He's in your bed, I'm in your Twitch chat. I've got the key and he's just a doormat. And even though he's got social skills, that doesn't mean I can't pay the bills. Anyway, make the most of it.
Cool.
She moves on pretty bloody quick. Oh, oh. Your new boyfriend's an asshole.
Everyone's playing Minecraft. We're gonna go raid Rio again. Because Rio seems like a chill person. And they're very fun, and I do like their little picture. But yeah, Rio's back. I met Jared, the one who took you away from me. You hit it off instantly. Actually, let's see if this works. It does! Stream all of it just being a god. Okay. Yeah, that is all my socials, so if you want to stalk me, like wherever I do things, like Twitter. I do need to remember my Instagram. I like don't fucking use it. So yeah. So yeah, I will 100% try to stream Sunday. It probably won't be as like long because my roommate is coming back. But yeah, I will definitely see you all whenever I see you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just fucking tired and I just can't do long streams anymore. So yeah. Bye bye. Oh my god, also the stream.